no way he said this as Darnell Nurse sounds off on the Oilers situation post-game against the Washington Capitals there as the downward spiral continues. The Oilers trying to, climb their way out of that hole last night against Ovechkin in the Capitals, but after that early hole that they dug themselves, just could not quite get themselves out of it. We will recap that one and then look ahead tonight against the Tampa Bay Lightning, the second half of the back-to-back, 2 more games, and then the Oilers are back home against the Dallas Stars. But what a murderer's row that is of, opponents looking forward. I'm certainly looking forward to. We're trying to, find some sort of positivity, a glimmer of hope for this team. But, the Tampa Bay Lightning, the Florida Panthers, then the Dallas Stars are their next 3 opponents. And we will have that covered for you here on the channel. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't. 72% of you watching these videos haven't hit that button down below. Whether you love the Oilers, whether you hate watch the Oilers, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below for any and all Oiler news there. Now the Oilers in Capitals, the Oilers putting 4 past one of the best goalies in the NHL, Logan Thompson. Okay, 4 goals past one of the best goalies, and they still lose 7-4 against the Washington Capitals. I'm not going to go through the whole scoring summary there. Darnell Nurse had 2 goals on the night there. He heard the media, and myself possibly, talking smack about him, saying he can't do this, he can't do that. And, he, sort of proved us wrong last night by scoring 2 goals and saying, hey, you know what, when I put my mind to it, I can do things other than, floating a shot into the chest of other goaltenders there. But the Oilers giving up 2 empty netters at the end there, making it 7-4. It looked a lot closer than what it was last night, as the Oilers, again, provided some pushback in the third period, but yet could not seal the deal and push this one to overtime. Taking a look at the game stats here, Edmonton outshooting Washington 30-21 there, and you can see, all the block shots at the bottom there, 25-6 in favor of the Washington Capitals there. The Oilers going 1 for 3 on, their power plays. Washington 0 for 1 there. Sometimes Ovechkin isn't quite automatic as he used to be on that Capitals power play there, but the Oilers just could not start themselves on time here, whether you want to blame the offense for not doing anything off the jump, the defense for falling asleep, Stuart Skinner for being Stuart Skinner, it doesn't matter. But the Oilers, again, with the slow starts here, and then, sort of rising their way up through the second, and then in the third period when they were dominating the Capitals there, and they said, okay, yeah, let's do something in the third period to make it feel like we've accomplished something there, and just fall flat at the end. The Edmonton Oilers, nearly doubling the Washington Capitals shot attempts 5-on-5 there. That is the most shot attempts they've had all season long there. And again, 5-on-5 outshooting the Capitals 27-19 there, and still losing by 3 goals. Kris Knoblauch saying, players are feeling very discouraged, but I like the energy. I don't necessarily like the defensive details of our game, but they're pushing. They have the energy. It's very disappointing because you dig a hole and you fight to get back out of it, and then you're in that hole again. This group is a resilient group. They're frustrated, but they're resilient and don't give up. We've seen that time and time again, so we have to stay with it there. You can add that to the list of Kris Knoblauch quotes following a post-game loss there. You're saying, the team has to, dig in, dig deep, dig up, dig down, don't care. Let's get something going here from this Oiler team other than just saying, yeah, playing Mad Libs here with the Edmonton media and saying, yeah, we're going to do this next game, and try to, follow through with it there. But, Darnell Nurse, following, a pretty solid game from him, sort of sending a message not just to his team, but also the rest of the media. It's nice to contribute. I think it's been a while since I helped out on that side of the ice, but for us, wins and keeping the puck out of our net is the most important part right now, saying it's tough to win games when you're giving up 5 before the empty netter, but we got to clean it up defensively and keep the puck out. Obviously, he sort of tried to save himself there with that last sentence, but it's, I haven't seen an Oiler, call out, their goaltending in quite a long time there. It's tough to win games when you're giving up 5 before the empty netter. Whew, Darnell, buddy, that is some fire behind that statement there. Take it how you will, but that's just, a defenseman saying, okay, yeah, we're trying our best here, but, defense is only as good as their goalie there. The bad goalie will, exemplify and make the defense look a whole lot worse than they are there. Again, the Oilers all over the Capitals in the third period, 28 shot attempts there, outshooting the Capitals 16-3. High danger chances were 17-10 in favor of the Oilers all night there, but whenever the Oilers, they let their guard down for a little bit. Then they let the Capitals right back into it there. I do believe it was the fourth Capitals goal there by Ryan Leonard, when it was just a whole mess on the ice there. Darnell Nurse, unfortunately, he didn't have a perfect game, pinching up at the blue line, and then Evan Bouchard just deciding to let Ryan Leonard, walk right on by, and then Stuart Skinner, the statue that he is, let Leonard go to the backhand and make it, adding on to the Capitals' lead there. But the deserve to win O-meter, I know many people are calling this fake, saying, how does this, how do you calculate that? But the Oilers, again, like I showed you, the second and third period, the Oilers, just, ramping up the intensity against the Washington Capitals. It'd be nice to get that from the get-go, but it does show, a little glimmer that's saying, hey, when this team actually wants to take over and win you a hockey game, they can do that. It's just, all reliant on who you have between the pipes there. And again, Brett Kulak, in 3 minutes and 47 seconds of time on ice there. This was, I do believe, halfway through the first period there, and he was already a -3 there, 5 shifts, and he's already a -3. I mean, Brett Kulak hasn't been the same old Brett Kulak that we've been, used to seeing with the Edmonton Oilers, and even before then, with the Montreal Canadiens and the Calgary Flames and so on and so forth there. But it's becoming, a little worrisome here, with Brett Kulak, and especially him and the other old guy on the team here, Mattias Ekholm, just hasn't been up to himself consistently. I mean, he's had, 1 or 2 good games here or there, but just hasn't been, the reliable rocking chair defenseman that, we've seen ever since he came over from the Nashville Predators there. And then the rest of the defense, Emerson had a quiet game, or Gula had a quiet game. Jake Wallman, I don't know what he's been doing. I love him so much, but, you put him next to Nurse or whatever. I mean, I think it's, putting him next to 2-5 there has sort of gotten his mind in a funk of, okay, yeah, I'm just going to play poorly for the time being here. But, Bouchard, other than the one mistake that he had on the Leonard goal, was the best Oilers defenseman all night there out of 7. I saw a lot of criticism towards that fourth goal, but again, it was just a whole multitude of, mistakes on that play, not just the one by Bouchard there. You can see, Stuart Skinner already in the butterfly there, and Ryan Leonard on his backhand. It doesn't matter who you blame on that goal. That is just inexcusable in every sense of the word there. And the elephant in the room. Stop me if you've heard this one before there. Stuart Skinner costing the Oilers a very, very winnable game there. It's not too often that Logan Thompson gives up 4, but it's very often that Stuart Skinner gives up 5 there, with an expected goals against of 2.26, whether you want to blame that on him or the defense. It's just something that the Oilers have to, obviously notice and go, yeah, we need to make a change. Are they going to say that, in front of the media and give all 31 NHL teams an excuse not to give them a goaltender? Absolutely, but I just hate seeing Stan Bowman or Kris Knoblauch go, yeah, no, wins and losses, that's what matters at the end of the day. But at the end of the day, last night, it was a loss in just trying to, pump the tires on your goaltender, saying, yeah, no, let's just hope he gets right back into, the rhythm that we've seen. But the question is, what kind of rhythm? That's how inconsistent he's been. Sure, he's outdueled Jake Ottinger in 2 Western Conference Finals in a row. What has he done other than that? Not really a whole lot. So, with Stuart Skinner, I can go on and on. I mean, you can go to pretty much any video here on the channel during the NHL or the Oilers season up to this point, and it's just been a recurring theme, and it's just getting very worrisome, and I'm getting tired of the entire situation here. Just need to do something, need to make a change, no matter what it is, or who does it, or how it's done. Just do something there. If you have to rush up Connor Ingram from the AHL, so be it. If you have to make a panic move, so be it. Just do something. Just, show the team, hey, the management is showing signs of life here, but, 737, that's an airplane. That's not an NHL goalie at all. I mean, folks, what are we doing here? And then this season, again, it's just a whole cavalcade of, disappointment from the Oilers. Goals against, 32nd in the NHL. 5-on-5, goals against, 58, 32nd in the NHL. And team save percentage, 857, 32nd in the NHL. And I know what you're thinking. Hey, that's the defense. What is the defense doing? But I have just the chart for you here, folks. The defensive situation in all situations. You have the goals against, and then the expected goals against, and then obviously the gap there. But all situations, you know, the Oilers given up 80 goals against in total there, and they have an expected goals against of 68.72. You can look at the chart here. But it's not all completely on the defense here. Sure, yeah, they've been leaky, in multiple games so far this season, but is it all completely on the defense? Absolutely not. You can see the goaltending situation. Again, when you have, numbers that look like they're in the 1980s, style of goaltending, and it's 2025, that's when you realize, hey, analytics that it's very obvious when the eye test shows you that you need to make a change there. And, for the Oilers, in their whole system, I mean, Kris Knoblauch is just showing that, hey, we're doing all that we can here, and they're pretty much sacrificing offense to make Stuart Skinner look somewhat decent night in and night out. The commitment to protecting the dangerous ice is key. We don't give Stu much help. You look at these nights where Stu's given up a lot of goals, and you're thinking that it's on goaltending, but we're not making the game easy for him, as if, he's a bantam goaltender, and, you need to make him feel comfortable by, again, sacrificing offense and just, playing some sort of defense. And when you have guys like Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, Zach Hyman, Evan Bouchard, when you're trying to fit that circle into that square there and realizing it's not working, you just need to go back to the old system there. I mean, I'm going to make a 1980s example right here, with Grant Fuhr. Did the Oilers change up their game style to protect Grant Fuhr, despite the fact he was giving up 6 goals every game? Absolutely not. The Oilers just kept doing their thing, and that's what worked there. You don't need to make a sacrifice just because Florida's beat your ass 2 years in a row in the Stanley Cup Finals. One team does not make you need to make an absolute change to your entire system there. You just need to keep doing what you are doing, because if you're trying to sacrifice offense in the name of defense, 9 times out of 10, the players just aren't going to buy into that system, and that's the problem that the Oilers have realized here. But the Oilers, you know what? We move on and we keep moving forward as the Oilers do take on the Tampa Bay Lightning in the second half of their back-to-back there in the 2 goaltenders. I don't have the 2 lineups for these teams right now. The Oilers going to run 11-7 again tonight. And then for the Tampa Bay Lightning, the main news of the day out of Tampa Bay is Nick Paul comes off of LTIR, and he will be in the lineup tonight. What I do have for you, though, is the 2 starting goaltenders. Andrei Vasilevskiy there, confirmed for the Tampa Bay Lightning. That's all but confirmed that Calvin Pickard will be in net for the Oilers tonight there. God help us all. Calvin Pickard, hopefully he can, have a flashback to the 2 playoff runs that he had with the Oilers, but that is very unlikely, contrary to what it says beside his name there. But let me know down in the comments what you thought about last night's game, and what is the main problem here for the Oilers in your opinion. I'm very curious to see what you all have to say down in the comments there. Then again, the downward spiral continues there, but for these Oilers, again, when you have Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, there's no reason to worry 100%. But, folks, I am getting there. So, again, let me know your thoughts down in the comments. And while you're down there, if you haven't subscribed already, make sure you hit that button. Let's go, Oilers. Have a great rest of your day. Just try to, get through this slog of a game against the Tampa Bay Lightning before, the final game of the road trip against the team I want to see the least, the Florida Panthers. But, with these Oilers, you can never quite count them out. But have a great rest of the day, folks. Take care. I'm out.